Hey, welcome to Mountain Time, episode 2. My name's Dan, author of the ebook Fit by 50. If you're over 40 and overweight, one of these things can be fixed. In episode 1, I talked about why I like doing my cardio outside when given the opportunity, as opposed to a treadmill or an elliptical, what the advantages are. In this episode, I'm going to talk about why you shouldn't be relying on cardio alone if your goal is to lose fat. The reason is pretty simple. Cardio, contrary to what a lot of people believe, does not upregulate your metabolism over time. In fact, the opposite occurs. It downregulates it, and the reason is your brain, your body, wants to become more efficient at performing that activity over time. So what usually happens in the typical scenario is someone starts walking or running, putting in a couple miles a day, and in the short term, say a month or 2, maybe even 3, they'll see some results. Lose between 1 pound and 2 pounds a week, and think, okay, this is great, I will just keep doing this. Probably they've also dialed their diet in a little bit, maybe cut 100 or 200 calories out. And so in the short term, there's a little bit of progress. But then the weight loss seems to come to a halt. The reason for that is your body has become more efficient in performing that activity and burns fewer calories to do so. And here is where people get frustrated and make a mistake. Well, the first mistake is relying on cardio alone in the first place. But here's the second mistake once they're in that situation. They either cut their calories further and eat less, or they increase the activity, or both. So if they had cut their calories from 2,000 to 1,800, maybe they cut it down to another 1,700. The 2 miles becomes 2.5, then 3. The walk becomes a run, and so on. Well, I think you can see that this is unsustainable long term. So number one, the cardiovascular activity is definitely upregulating your appetites. You're going to be hungrier. You're doing more activity over time and consuming less food simultaneously while trying to increase that activity. So obviously this is kind of a perfect storm for failing, and that's what happens to most people. Then they throw their hands up and get frustrated and quit, say they're genetically cursed, whatever, and invariably they gain all the weight back. But here's the kicker. Let's say over those first few months, you were trying to drop 50 pounds, but you dropped 20 of them. It wasn't 20 pounds. Sorry, I got to watch my step here for a second. There we go. It wasn't 20 pounds of pure body fat. It was perhaps 18 pounds of body fat and a couple of pounds of muscle. Because when you perform endurance activity, your brain doesn't like to have muscle, at least not any more than it actually needs to keep you alive and perform the activity that you're doing. So it will pare that down to the minimum. When you gain the weight back, you don't gain back 18 pounds of fat and 2 pounds of muscle. Muscle just doesn't come back. The whole 20 pounds is fat. So you're not even really back to square one. You're kind of at square zero. So what's the answer to all this? Well, in case you haven't heard, the best activity for you out there who are trying to lose body fat and keep it off long term is resistance training. In other words, moving weight. And if you're not particularly a fan of the weight room, lifting weights, using machines, you can use resistance bands, you can do body weight activities, but it is important that you try to get some resistance training activity into your program. You don't have to give up cardio entirely. Obviously, it has health benefits. It's just not a long-term plan for losing fat. So that's pretty much it for this one. I'm out here on the Contour Trail on Mount Helena in the South Hills around Helena, Montana. Absolutely perfect day for a hike. And until next time, thanks for watching. Get outside, why don't you?